All right, what up YouTube? I've never really made a real YouTube video, but I'm gonna give it a shot because I'm gonna be changing my truck, solid axle swap Nissan Frontier, from a radius arm setup to a true 3-link setup. And I've never built anything like this before. There's a ton of videos about intercenter, instant center, anti-dive, center of gravity, link separation, link theory, all that crazy stuff. I'm not going to be going over any of that because I believe what it really comes down to is what you can actually fit in your vehicle, and it's a lot of compromise. Like you can do the math and figure out what the best numbers are, but what it all comes down to is what you can fit in your vehicle. But here's some of the parts that I'm going to be throwing in. Here's what I got for parts real quick. Everything here is from Ballistic Fab. I'm really excited about these lower control arm mounts because apparently I'm not going to have to trim away all the casting from the center diff for this lower arm. And 3/8 wall Dom tubing, 3/8 for the lower, and regular 1/4 inch wall Dom tubing for the upper. And then this is what I plan on using for an upper frame mount. I'm gonna weld these tabs onto the transmission cross member. And Ballistic Fab joints. These look really, really nice. Polyurethane, inner races, super beef. Here I'll do a quick little walk around with what I'm working on. It's a 2012 Nissan Frontier. It's already been solid axle swapped from a company called Shadow Wolf. They made the kit, but they used radius arms, which are great and all, but I do a lot of crazy rock crawling and they're just not holding up. All the joints are pretty shot out. Up the lower hems are already blown out. I don't know how well the Ford rubber is holding up, but yeah, I'm gonna cut all the radius arms off. Plan on putting the upper control arm tower about right here, and then we'll shoot it up to the transmission cross member. I'm gonna have to move that intermediate cross member bar. I'll see if I can point to it. This I'm gonna have to adjust. I got plenty of room. I'll be able to make a new one more flush with the bell housing. But yeah, gonna get to work. All right, just got the upper control arm tower fully welded, and then I also got the axle somewhat prepped. It's just gonna be getting tacked on. That way I can get the arm length about right. And if I need to do any bends, I might cycle the axle with I got the springs off. Yeah, down here just trying to mock up what the upper arm's gonna look like. This is full stuff. I want to try to squeeze another inch of up travel. I have it in the coilover on the shock. There's about an inch left in it from where it's currently bump stopped at. I'm gonna have to use that lower bolt, which shouldn't be a problem. I'll still have about 9 inches of separation, and I'm probably gonna have to put a very slight bend in this upper because it's wanting to live in the same space as the exhaust right there, and then I'm gonna have to still squeeze in that intermediate cross member that bolts right there. Here's my upper control arm frame side mount tabs that I bought. They came with 9/16" holes. So we're gonna drill them out to 3/4 because that's what size hand joints I'm gonna be using. I have to put a slight bend in the upper control arm. I already started with a little bit. I gotta put just a tiny bit more. Right now, it just has tension under. I haven't started the bend yet, but I'll probably do 5 to 8 pumps on it. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Take a look. Trying to do a wide, not so much of a steep bend, but like a wide arc. So I started the first bend there, and then here. Now I'm working one right there. Yeah, let's do one more bend. Thinking this is gonna be it. Liking it. Harbor Freight pipe bender. Bends 1/4 inch, 2 inch, no problem. Tower tacked in about where I want it. Upper control arm's been cut and bent for clearance. I just have one of those tabs just to get the length and positioning all set. I might actually end up use that middle hole on that tower. That'll give better separation. It might be difficult to get that inch more out of the up travel, but it's not going to be the end of the world. Intermediate Crossmember has been modified, so I already cycled it up, and clearance looks great with where it's bumped out right now. Next step is I'm probably gonna weld in the whatever you want to call these guys, get that upper complete, and then I'm gonna rip this transmission crossmember out, fully weld in these tabs, and then probably gusset them. And it's surprisingly not difficult, but tricky getting these bungs welded onto the tubes. Let me know what you think of my welding skills. I am not a professional, just a dirt bag with a angle grinder and a Lincoln welder. Does pretty good, I think, though. And real quick, this is what I had the welder set at for those bong welds. Transmission crossmember is out. Got those upper control arm tabs welded in onto it. Super happy with the way it came out. These things have to be super secure because it's a 3-link with a single upper. If these were to fail, get ripped off, it'd be total catastrophic destruction of everything. Added this little C-channel to it just to tie the tabs together for reinforcement, and also gives some more welding surface to the cross member to help it from getting ripped off. But yeah, should be super stout. Axle prep. So right now the hull axle is flipped upside down just to give me a little more access. So I got this side prepped for the lower control arm mounts. That was a lot of cutting and grinding on that cast, but majority of the cast is intact, which is what I love about this ballistic fab lower control arm mount. So it's gonna half weld to the axle tube and then half weld to the cast. And then it's got this sweet little bracket that's going to tie into the C for just added reinforcement, really. So heck yeah. And then also started to cut up with the torch, passenger side radius mount. I just did this one side and I'm gonna let it cool down. I don't want to add too much heat to the axle tube, but yeah, that was basically the whole day was prepping that driver's side, and now just a little bit on that passenger side. Tons and tons of work. Lower control arm mounts getting welded on. Just did this bead upside down, and that driver's side one's all welded in onto the cast. I think it turned out okay. I don't see any cracks yet. Lower links getting cut to length, 27 inches, and going for about 35 inches total length with the joints. That 3/8 wall stuff was no joke cutting through. Like, look how long it takes to cut through, even through the time lapse. Lowers are tacked in and cut to length. All mocked up. I got the axle somewhat centered and aligned. I just used a tape measure and eyeballed it. And also cycled the axle up and down and articulated it. Everything looking beautiful. No bind. No contact with anything. I gotta wait for some weld-in washers, like the repair weld-in washers, because this hole is not the right size for this joint. I need it 9/16. Yeah, this is going to be a huge upgrade. I could not do this with the radius arms, like articulate it like this. If I lifted one side of the axle with the radius arms, it would raise the other side of the axle. Like there would be like that much articulation if I'd lift one side, and it would go up together like that. But with the 3-link, it's full freedom with these arms. So super happy with it. I can't wait. I still got a ton of work to do though. I gotta figure out the hydro assist mount on the axle, because that's changed with that upper tower. Yeah, still lots of odds and ends to do, but it's coming along. Yeah, so still going over everything. Everything's still just tacked up, but I want to go over link separation real quick, because this is probably one of the most important things about building a 3-link is you need adequate separation from upper to lower to counteract that caster rotation that happens. And the more separation, the more leverage you're going to have to counteract that force. But with the 40-inch tire, everything I'm seeing is 10 inches is what you want. Like 9 to 10 inches. It's 25% of the tire size, I guess. So 11 inches might be, actually I'm a little over 11 inches, might be a little excessive. And if I do use that lower bolt hole, what that's going to do is lower my anti-dive percentage. Now, I have no idea what my anti-dive percentage is going to be with on that middle hole, but one thing for sure I do want is to be below 100% anti-dive, because that's going to give me a little more plush ride with those radius arms. The ride was pretty stiff, pretty rough because when I'd hit a bump, all that force would get shot up through the one link, because radius arms, you have your upper link just tied into the lower link, but with the angle that I had on that radius arm, it just kind of violently went into the frame, which is probably why those joints wore out pretty fast. Well, the upper joint wore out probably from articulating so often, pretty aggressive, and then these joints probably blew out from impacts. But yeah, it's way too much to get into. But if I can lower that, that'll lower anti-dive percentage. And 10 lower, well, this is just a 1 inch difference, so that'll put me closer to 10 inch, which will be more than enough. And yeah, just gonna keep playing around with it. And I can always go back and forth. It's not like these holes are gonna go away. I'll probably lop this top one off just to get some more clearance on that engine mount. But for all, I can always go back and forth. It's not like it's super difficult to change. Like this one might be more rock crawler friendly, and then this might be more street friendly. I know we've all been here before. You weld in your bracket for your joints, and then all of a sudden your joint is too big to fit in the bracket, or the bracket's too small because it shrunk from welding. So here's my fix. There's probably easier ways to do it, like weld the bracket with a washer and your joint in, but I don't have spare joints. So this is how I do it. I put a bolt and nut and then loosen the nut so it expands it, and then I'll go in and fully weld the little tabs. Like I got one here, and then the ones on the bottom, like that one's done, but this one isn't. That side too, so loosen that bolt and nut, and then your joint can fit in nice and loosely. Let's see if I can record the pinion change as it goes through the suspension cycle. Right now it's at full droop, and I'll put it at full stuff right now. Watch how the pinion changes, the pinion angle. I'm thinking it shouldn't change all that much with the way the links are set up. Yeah, real quick, I just want to add the way the pinion acts through the cycle depends on your link length and separation. I have 35-inch lowers, 34-inch upper, and like 3 inches of separation at the frame. So that all has a major effect on how the pinion acts throughout the cycle. So yeah, there's about full stuff. Yeah, I really like that pinion angle throughout the whole cycle. Alignment looked pretty well for the link length, so I decided to weld everything up. And now it's basically final assembly and buttoning everything up. I'm gonna end the video here. All I have left is final assembly and steering. I have to remake a hydro assist mount on the axle, but I'll make a part 2 video of the final product, and with some maybe with some trail video. And yeah, thank you for making it this far in the video and watching. If you want to message me, you can hit me up on Instagram, SassyPro4X. But yeah, thank you for watching, like and subscribe. Peace.